Hello, welcome back. Today I'm doing a quick roundup of what happened at Eastercon. What's Eastercon, you might ask? Maybe you already know. Anyway, I'm going to tell you. Eastercon is an annual science fiction and fantasy convention that we have in the UK around Easter. No surprises. And the other one we kind of normally have around September time is FantasyCon. There are other ones, but those are the two main ones that I go to. And if I sound a little hoarse, a little bit, it's because I caught COVID, hooray, at the convention. Well, not hooray that I caught it, but I caught it with a bunch of other people. There were precautions at the convention. They were being careful. They did advise people to wear a mask. It's kind of weird that I went to a convention in Chicago in February. I went through two airports. The whole time at the convention, masks were compulsory. Even for panellists, we were given transparent masks. Came all the way home, tested, didn't catch COVID. Totally fine. I go to a convention down the road, 20 miles, and I caught COVID. So I've been out of action for a week, and I'm still a little bit phlegmy, because I'm sure you wanted to know that. So, as a result of that, the organisers of FantasyCon in September are now rethinking their COVID policy, and they're going to talk to the organisers of Eastercon and hopefully come up with a better plan, which I think makes sense. Wearing masks, making it compulsory perhaps around areas, except for when you're eating, obviously you can't have a mask on. Something like that would be good. But anyway, I think COVID, hasn't gone away. It's still active in some places. It's still a bit of a problem. So it's just something to be mindful of if you're going to gatherings or anything like that. But that's not what I'm talking about today. Today I'm talking about what actually went on at Eastercon, what I learnt talking to other writers and editors. What's the future of publishing? I don't know, but I can tell you what some people said. And for those who are eagle-eyed and noticed, yes, I do edit my videos. What's this? Look! Yes, it's a very, very, very advanced author edition of The Judas Blossom, my new novel. It doesn't come out till July, but I have a copy. I have one copy. That is it. Finished, done. The map, the cover. Let's pull it down and have a look, shall we? There you go. Book 1 in the Nightingale, The Falcon, brand new trilogy set in 13th century Persia, available to pre-order now, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Waterstones, your independent bookshops, of course, support them if you can. It's really lovely, it's embossed, it's got a map, but I'm not going to show you that. You have to buy the book to find it. A while ago, there was a thread on Twitter, you may not be aware of it, you may not be on Twitter, but it's where someone posed a question, and they said, if you had to cut 10,000 words from your book, editing wise, and you had to wait 18 months or 2 years, but then you were guaranteed a publishing deal, traditional publishing deal, would you take it? All of the traditionally published authors, and all of those people with common sense said, yeah, fine, sounds good to me. All of those who were kind of clueless got up in arms and went, 10,000 words? You want to cut that from my book? You can write it yourself. They obviously know nothing about editing at all. Very, very, very clueless. And if you're writing a fantasy book, your science fiction book, 100,000 words, 200,000, 300, 400,000 words, 10,000 is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. My agent has said to me, the book's a bit slow, the pace needs to speed up a bit at the beginning, go and cut 20k. Now I didn't actually get 20k, I think I cut about 16, and then during the editing process I added about another 8k. So I did lose some of the total, it did speed up the process and so on, but 10k is absolutely nothing. It's minuscule in some of the bigger books. So that's not a problem. The 2-year delay thing, also kind of standard. And from talking to editors at Eastercon and in the past in general, and people always say traditional publishing is slow. It is. We know this. This isn't a surprise. Say you get an agent and then the next day it goes to a publisher's and they say, yes, we'll buy it in 2 days. Never happens. But they say, yes, we'll buy it. Usually you're looking at 12 months, 15 months, maybe 18 months before your book comes out. For lots of different reasons. I've talked about this before. Your lists, what else the publisher is putting out. They're always working ahead, 12 months, even 20 months out. Finding your book to sit somewhere on the shelves and on their publishing schedule so that it doesn't cannibalise the sales of something else and vice versa. Yours doesn't suffer from someone else's book. So all these kind of considerations. Plus, there are so many books going through the process at the publisher, and they have a limited number of resources. They can only process a certain number of books within a certain period of time. All of these factors contribute. The fact that you're paying someone money to do all of this, you never put your hand in your pocket. That's one of the reasons it is slower. So people were talking about a little bit about this at the convention and sort of saying the lead times on some books are getting a little bit longer. And I've spoken about chasing trends, that you should never try and do it before, because even if you have a great book now that you think, oh, so-and-so just got a bestseller and mine's similar to that, it's a good Me Too product, it's bound to do well on the trend. It just proves to me that you should never try and chase a trend. But from talking to editors and listening to panels, it also shows that they're not doing that either, because it's not worth their time. As fast as they could get a book in and process it and put it out, they could have missed the trend by a couple of years. So they want to try and acquire books that will last a lot longer on the shelf, that they won't just be there for sort of 2 years because of this great trend, whatever it is, and then the sales tail off when the market gets saturated or something like that. They want books that are there to say something, they want books that are fun, they want books that are just, entertaining, uplifting, positive reads, because after the last few years, a lot of people want a bit of light relief. They want fun, they want comedy, they want humour. And there's still room for darker books and grittier books and books tackling very heavy topics and difficult subjects. But I personally think we're going to see a lot more lighter fiction coming through. We've had the grimdark. I think there's going to be the kind of opposite of that appearing, the noble bright, if you want. Something that's nice. What's wrong with a nice story? We're starting to see some of that already, like Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. That's kind of a cosy comfort read, people are saying. And I think you're going to get more of those. Not necessarily the same as his, but something else like that, that's just quite a gentle read. And after the last few years, I kind of want some of those too. The other thing people were talking about was AI. Things like ChatGPT and all of these other AI programs. And there's been some controversy in publishing a couple of times where publishers have created covers using artwork with an AI generation thing, and then they haven't actually given anything to the original artists. They got no money for it, they got no recognition, but the AI generated it based upon their artwork. So that was a bit of a problem. Also, a number of science fiction and fantasy magazines and other publishers that accept open submissions have been flooded by AI generated stories, and they've had to kind of say on their submission guidelines now, no AI generated stories, don't do this, don't do that. And they can tell when it's written by an AI. And I'm thinking, a lot of people are saying it's not going to change publishing, it's really annoying, it's upsetting, it's disturbing, because it's just taking a bunch of random stuff and throwing it against the wall. And AI does come up with a story because it has the, processing power to do it. And thinking it's not going to go anywhere. It's really not. And then, I still think it's not going to happen. It's not going to be a new trend. However, then a news story came up this week, the week of London Book Fair here in the UK. And I'm just going to read you the headline. One World has acquired an AI-inspired adult debut from this author. I'm not going to name him. He's got too much PR as it is. Entitled Benny and the Blue Whale, a ChatGPT fantasy in chaos. So this author asked ChatGPT to tell him a particular story about a blue whale, and it came up with something. And now there's a novel coming out about this. Now, I'm still not completely sure if it's about the story of the author in the book asking ChatGPT to come up with a story and then it's something around that, or it's just the story that the AI has come up with based upon the stuff that he fed into it. But this novel is coming out on the 2nd of November this year. And, I keep thinking, it's April Fool's, we're in the right month and all that sort of thing. No, it's real. It's real. I think it's going to be a real kind of watershed moment. I think it's going to annoy a lot of people, especially when the number of writers, I talk to many of them, and there are many of you out there that are struggling to get attention, struggling to get an agent and a publishing contract, and then someone just feeds a bunch of crap into an AI thing and he gets a book and then he gets a deal. I think it's horrible. I think it's horrific, and I hope it goes away and stops, really. I think it should be banned completely because it's just ridiculous. Those were the two main themes that I picked up on from going to the event, and I think it is worth going to them. I've spoken about in the past why I think it's important to go to events at any stage in your career. It's good to be around the people in your industry, the people in your genre, talk to them, find out what's going on for them, get stories of how it is working with their editor, their agent, their publisher, so you get a different feel. And let's say you do have an agent and it's not going well, or your agent's going to retire or something, you can start to put feelers out and find out about potential other agents or other publishers, and just learn more about the industry, because you're never standing still. Might get one book deal with one publisher and it does okay, and then maybe go to another publisher or maybe get a second deal, and you stay with that same publisher because he seems to be the best deal around, or whatever it might be. And all this kind of stuff you just pick up by osmosis, by talking to people, mixing in the bar. The bar is the best place for all of these events, really. After the panels, I don't know, panels are good, they're useful. I was on a panel about Andor, of all things, which is still my most popular video on this channel. You really like me talking about Andor, apparently. Anyway, so I was on that. That did very well. People seemed to like it. Went good fun. But then it was afterwards in the bar, chatting with people and sat over drinks or dinner. You know, how's it going with your book? What's happening with you? How's your working habits? What's, you know, has anything affected it? These kind of things. So it's really worth going. I think going to too many events, if you're looking at it from a business side and a kind of professional standpoint, if you went to 3 or 4 or 5 events, it would lose some of its value in terms of what you could gain about what's happening with the industry and the genre. So going to 1 or 2 of those a year is great. If you're going just for the social side and you can afford it and you want to hang around your people and be a part of your tribe and spend time with them, and it is really useful and it is really helpful. It is really nice to be around people who get everything that you're going through, not only the struggles of being a writer or of having an agent and working with a publisher, all these kind of things, but writing within the same genre as you. There's nothing more rewarding than being around people who just get it. So if you're going for the social side and that kind of aspect, it is great, because sometimes I don't meet up with these people outside of these events. So 2 of those a year, if I can afford to go, is brilliant for me. More than that, I don't know. I don't know if it'd be worth my time unless I'm just going for the social side. So if you can go to events, definitely try. I think it is rewarding at any stage of your career. Okay, that's all I'm going to talk about for today. I'll be back very soon with another video.